Devadadari Jaya Ukijana Mallabha Devadadari Yashodanandana Rajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Rajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Bolo Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Radha Sharad Vihari Radha Sharad Vihari Sri Radhe Jaya Radha Sharad Vihari Radha Sharad Vihari Sri Radhe Jaya Jagannath Jaya Jagannath Jaya Baladeva Jaya Subhadra Jaya Jagannath Jaya Jagannath Jaya Baladeva Jaya Subhadra Jaya Gauranitai Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada Jaya Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada Jaya Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada Jaya Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada Gurudev Jaya Gurudev Jaya Jaya Gurudev Jaya Jaya Gurudev Nithai Gora Haribo Nithai Gora Haribo Nithai Gora Haribo Nithai Gora Haribo Jayom Vishnupad Parahamsa Parivajakachaja Astotara Sata Srimad Divine Grace Abhaycharam Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki
Jai.
Jayom Vishnupad Paramhamsa Parivajakachaja Astotara Sata Srimad Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj Prabhupada Ki
Jai.
Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki
Jai.
Ramacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki
Jai.
ISKCON Founder Charge Sri Prabhupada Ki
Jai.
Prem Se Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Ki
Jai.
Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyam Kun Radha Kun Giri Govardhan Ki
Jai.
Vrindavan Dham Ki
Jai.
Mathura Dham Ki
Jai.
Navadvip Dham Ki
Jai.
Jagannath Puri Dham Ki
Jai.
Jagannath Swami Ki
Jai.
Ganga Mai Ki
Jai.
Yamuna Mai Ki
Jai.
Tulsi Devi Ki
Jai.
Bhakti Devi Ki
Jai.
Hare Krishna Mahamantra Ki
Jai.
Grantra Srimad Bhagavatam Ki
Jai.
Samaveta Bhaktavinda Ki
Jai.
Nitai Gaura Bhamanande
Hari Hari Bo.
All glories to the assembled devotees.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
All glories to the assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna.
All glories to the assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna.
All glories to the lotus feet of Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga. Glory to Srila Prabhupada.
Jai Shri Guru, Jai Shri Guru.
Namo Vishnudaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimad Bhakti Swami. Namaste Krishna Prabhupada Chittagani Shri Guru Narayana Namaskritya Naram Chevam Narottamam Devim Saraswati Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayat Nasta Prayusva Bhadresu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavata Uttamaskloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om
Om
Namo
Namo
Bhagavate
Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om
Om
Namo
Namo
Bhagavate
Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om
Om
Namo
Namo
Bhagavate
Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya.
Hare Krishna. Good morning to everyone. So this morning's Bhagavatam class is from Canto 10, chapter 13 in text 44. So I'll say it 3 times and anyone who wants to repeat can do so at that time. Okay. Evam samohayan Vishnu vimoham vishvamohanam swayaiva mayaya jopi swayam eva vimohita evam samohayan Vishnu vimoham vishvamohanam swayaiva mayaya jopi swayam eva vimohita Evam Samohayan Vishnu Vimohan Vishvamohanam Swayeva Mayaya Jopi Swayam Eva Vimohita. Hare Krishna. You may repeat if you want. Anyone?
Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Evam sammohayan Vishnum vimoham vishvamohanam swayam eva mayaya jopi satyameva vimohitah.
Jai.
Evam samohayan Vishnum vimoham vishvamohanam swayaiva maya yojopi swayam eva vimohita.
Jai. Anyone else?
Evam samohayan Vishnam vimoham vishvamohanam svayava maya yojopi svayam eva vimohitaha.
Evam samohayan Vishnu vimoham visvamohanam swayaiva mayaya jopi swayama eva mohitaha.
Evam sammohayan Vishnum vimoham vishvamohanam swayaiva mayaya jopi swayam eva vimohita.
Jai. Anyone else?
Evam sammohayan Vishnum vimoham vishvamohanam swayaiva mayaya jopi swayam eva vimohita.
Evam samohayan Vishnum Vishmoham Vishwa Mohanam Swayeva Maya Yajo Api Swayam Eva Vimohita.
Jai. Anyone else?
Evam sammohayan Vishnum vimoham vishva mohanam swayaiva maya yajopi swayam eva vimohita. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Evam sammohayan Vishnum vimohan visvamohanam स्वयैव मया याजोऽपि स्वयम् एव विमोहितः.
Anyone else? Okay. So, word for word translation. Evam, in this way. Samohayan, wanting to mystify. Vishnu, the all-pervading Lord Krishna. Vimoham, who can never be mystified. Vishva Mohanam, but who mystifies the entire universe. Swayaya, by his, Brahma's own. Eva, indeed. Mayaya, by mystic power. Ajaha, Lord Brahma. Api, even. Swayam, himself. Eva, certainly. Vimohitaha, was put into bewilderment, became mystified. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Lord Brahma, translation. That's because Lord Brahma wanted to mystify all the, I have to start again. I don't know what's going on with my reading. I apologize. So I'll start over and concentrate better. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. I'm going to straight out this morning. Thus, because Lord Brahma wanted to mystify the all-pervading Lord Krishna, who can never be mystified, but who, on the contrary, mystifies the entire universe, he himself was put into bewilderment by his own mystic power. Purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Brahma wanted to bewilder Krishna, who bewilders the entire universe. That's a tall order, isn't it? The whole universe is under Krishna's mystic power. Mama Maya Duratyaya, Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, text 14. But Brahma wanted to mystify him. The result was that Brahma himself was mystified, just as one who wants to kill another may himself be killed. In other words, Brahma was defeated by his own attempt. In a similar position are the scientists and philosophers who want to overcome the mystic power of Krishna. They challenge Krishna saying, what is God? We can do this and we can do that. But the more they challenge Krishna in this way, the more they are implicated in suffering. The lesson here is that we should not try to overcome Krishna. Rather, instead of endeavoring to surpass him, we should surrender to him. Sarva dharman parityaja mamekam sharanam vraja. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, text 66. Instead of defeating Krishna, Brahma himself was defeated, for he could not understand what Krishna was doing. Since Brahma, the chief person within this universe, was so bewildered, what is to be said of so-called scientists and philosophers? Sarva dharman parityaja mamekam sharanam vraja. We should give up all our tiny efforts to defy the arrangement of Krishna. Instead, whatever arrangement he proposes, we should accept. This is always better, for this will make us happy. The more we try to defeat the arrangement of Krishna, the more we become implicated in Krishna's Maya. Daivihesha gunamai mama maya duratyaya. But one who has reached the point of surrendering to the instructions of Krishna, Mameva Jipapadyante, is liberated, free from Krishna Maya, Maya itatarantite. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, text 14. The power of Krishna is just like the government that cannot be overcome. Excuse me for a moment. Do this. The power of Krishna is just like a government that cannot be overcome. First of all, there are laws, and then there is the police power, and beyond that, there's military power. Therefore, what is the use of trying to overcome the power of the government? Similarly, what is the use of trying to challenge Krishna? From the next verse, it is clear that Krishna cannot be defeated by any kind of mystic power. If one gets even a little power of scientific knowledge, one tries to defy God, but actually no one is able to bewilder Krishna. When Brahma, the chief person within the universe, tried to bewilder Krishna, he himself was bewildered and astonished. This is the position of the conditioned soul. Brahma wanted to mystify Krishna, but he himself was mystified. The word Vishnu is significant in this verse. Vishnu pervades the entire material world, whereas Brahma merely occupies one subordinate post. Yasheka Nishbashita Kalam Atavalam Balambya. Jivanti Loma Vilaja Jagananda Nataha. Brahma Samhita, chapter 5, text 48. The word Natha, which refers to Lord Brahma, is plural because there are innumerable universes and innumerable Brahmas. Brahma is but a tiny force. This was exhibited in Dwarka when Krishna called for Brahma. One day, when Brahma came to see Krishna at Dwarka, the doorman at Lord Krishna's request asked, "Which Brahma are you?" Later, Brahma inquired from Krishna whether this meant that there was more than one Brahma. Later, when Brahma inquired from Krishna whether this meant that there was more than one Brahma, Krishna smiled and at once called for many Brahmas from many universes. The four-headed Brahma of this universe then saw that innumerable other Brahmas coming to see Krishna and offering their respects. Some of them had 10 heads, some of them had 20, some had 100, and some had 1,000,000 heads. Upon seeing this wonderful exhibition, the four-headed Brahma became nervous and began to think of himself as no more than a mosquito in the midst of many elephants. Therefore, what can Brahma do to bewilder Krishna? Hare Krishna. Om Gnati Virandasya Jnana Gena Shalakaya Chakshu Umilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manovistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantika Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavam Scha Shri Rupa Sagajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitam Scha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gorangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Site Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpadrubhyascha Kripa Sindhve Evacha Uditanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sari Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namini Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharini Nirvishesha Sunyavari Paschatya Deshacharini Namo Mahabharanyaya Krishna Prema Padayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namni Gurachise Namaha Ananda Lilamaya Vigrahaya Himavi Nivacha Vishindarai Tasmi Mahaprema Raspadaya Chaitanya Chandaya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandaya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandaya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandaya Namo Namaste Hare Krishna. So here's the English translation of the text again. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Thus, because Lord Brahma wanted to mystify the all-pervading Lord Krishna, who can never be mystified, but who, on the contrary, mystifies the entire universe, he himself was put into bewilderment by his own mystic power. Hare Krishna. First lesson, don't try to mystify Krishna. It's like, don't try this at home. Immediately, you don't try to do something like that. You're going to be in all kinds of trouble. And Krishna will add you to his pastimes and fool you, and also bless you at the same time. Krishna is incredible. I couldn't wait to say that because I was kind of laughing through this whole thing. Brahma is going to mystify Krishna. He got some nerve. He's a jiva. He's a jiva for crying out loud. Huh? You got to know how to create Bhagavatam Vishnu. Who are you to try to mystify Krishna? That's all these expansions came from him. Who are you? Who are you? And well, I'm little compared to Brahma, true enough. But the Shastra is saying what it's saying. Brahma can mystify me, little jiva, but he can't mystify Krishna. This is like a little mosquito. Now, in the end, he got it. He got it. That he's just 4 heads. Even when it comes to just Brahma's realm, 8 heads a day, 32 heads a day, 64 heads a day, 128 heads, 256 heads, 1,000,000 heads a day. So this little Brahma with 4 heads seems that he's so big. So Krishna had to bring him down to size. It's called cutting down the false ego. Same thing. So we have to be careful. So Srila Prabhupada translates, thus, because Lord Brahma wanted to mystify the all-pervading Lord Krishna, and we know the story. He took the cowherd boys and the cows and hid them in a cave. And Lord Brahma says, good, you have 4 eyes, right? Look in the cave with 2 eyes and look in the field with the other 2 eyes, and you're going to see the same thing. And then you start getting mystified. How come the 2 pictures the same? I thought I hit the cowherd boys. Yeah, you did. Krishna hit them too by changing himself to be all of them. Now you take that. So see, you can't mess with Krishna. The demons get killed. Even the devotees like Lord Brahma, they get put in their place too. So you really can't do anything to Krishna but just surrender to him. That's all. And then your love, will teach you how to, those of us are conditioned, so we're even learning how to love. We're not even a Krishna prema yet. So who are we to even speak? Lord Brahma, that's high, he tried to use his power and he got mystified. So that's a lesson we learn. Keep cool. Be a servant of a servant of a servant. Krishna will give us so much if we surrender. And the extent to which we surrender, he rewards accordingly. This is such an important verse. If we surrender 20%, we get 20% back. If we surrender 50%, we're going to get 50% back. If we surrender 90%, the more you give up and rely on Krishna, then the more your life becomes wonderful and has less anxiety in it. It's a fact. It's really a fact. Therefore, every day you pray, Krishna, put this mind, dear Gurudev, dear Krishna, put this mind out of the way. I think I know everything, but that's not true. Please run my life today. Run my life to everything that happens that comes through my mind. Let it be sanctioned by you first. And if I think something or think of something and it's not good for me, cut it off, sabotage it. My Guru Maharaj says, sabotage it and substitute it with whatever. And even if I don't understand, I'm still surrendered. And at the end of the day, I know you will do the best thing for me. Basically, that's the prayer. So then you surrender and you go through life. It's like everything that everybody does. You're acting normally. Well, Arjuna was also shooting arrows in the battle of Kurukshetra, just like Duryodhana was shooting arrows. But what was the motivation? The motivation for Arjuna was, I'm doing this for Krishna, as a soul surrendered to Krishna. Duryodhana, I'm doing it for myself because I want Hastinapur for myself. Totally different. One was his ego, that's Duryodhana, and the other one surrendered to Krishna. Arjuna didn't even want to fight. Such a kind person, but he also trained. He's a Kshatriya. So then Krishna says, do your work. And he explains so many ways. Well, if he doesn't fight, it's going to be absolutely terrible for him in life. He's going to be treated as a coward. And he's a huge person with all these divyastra from a heavenly planet, and he's going to be treated like a coward? What did he go to the heavenly planet to get the weapons for then? It's no use. So Krishna took his time and explained, of course, ultimately for our benefit, right? We are the conditioned souls. This Arjuna was on the Yoga Maya. Not that he didn't know, he was on the Yoga Maya. He's Nara Narayan, the two of them, Krishna and Arjuna. So he's way up there. But, just so we can learn from it, he also bewildered Arjuna a little bit. And then from that, he taught him. The Lord Brahma was added to Krishna's pastimes with the cowherd boys. And now he realizes that he is shocked because he has hidden the boys and the cows, and they're supposed to be in the cave. All things being equal, none of them should have been on the field. They're supposed to be in the cave. And now he looks with the other two eyes, 180 degrees across from the other two eyes, and he's seeing still all the boys like that. And of course, Krishna also went on and changed himself, all of the cowboys, into Lord Vishnu, 400 Lord Vishnu, and then came back to the regular Krishna with his little, lunch bag and all of that he was sure to get. So, Brahma looks says, this is too much. This is too much. I have gotten myself in a situation I shouldn't have. So because Lord Brahma wanted to mystify the all-pervading Lord Krishna, who can never be mystified, but who, on the contrary, mystifies the entire universe, he himself was put into bewilderment by his own mystic power. His own mystic power put him in bewilderment. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says, Brahma wanted to bewilder Krishna, who bewilders the entire universe. The whole universe is under Krishna's mystic power. Mama Maya Duratyaya. But Brahma wanted to mystify him. So the whole text, Bhagavad Gita chapter 7, text 14, Daivihesha Gunamai, Mama Maya Duratyaya. Mama Ivaje Prabhadante, Maya Ita Tarantite. Srila Prabhupada quotes it a lot. The translation is, this divine energy of mind consisting of the three modes of material nature is difficult to overcome. But those who surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it. That's what we're talking about. The three modes of nature that constitute Krishna's material, nature, the modes, goodness, passion, and ignorance, they are together his divine energy. And he's saying this divine energy is difficult to overcome. So we cannot purify ourselves. We cannot. His Holiness Hridayananda Maharaj came to Girinagara and gave a lecture, and he made it clear. Devotees think they're going to be purified. They can't do it. Krishna will purify us. We can't do it on our own. Because if you're going to fight Maya, he's so intelligent, he'll beat you left and right. It's not possible. It is not possible. A devotee has to surrender to Krishna, and Maya, Krishna's boss, that's Krishna's boss. And Krishna, when we surrender to him, then he will help us out of Maya. Then we get purified. But on our own, we're going to be the judge, we're going to be the jury, we're going to be the prosecution, we're going to be the defense. You can forget it. It won't get anywhere because Maya is way too strong. So we surrender. Same thing. Surrender to Krishna, and then Krishna takes our case. When we surrender, it means whatever he asked us to do in Bhagavad Gita, we do it. Go to spiritual master. You go to spiritual master. Inquire from him submissively. Inquire from him submissively. You don't challenge spiritual master. You render service to him. Menial, the more menial, the better. So he's happy with you. When he's happy, Yashat Prasadam, Bhagavad Prasadam, when he's happy, Krishna is satisfied. Because Guru is satisfied, then Krishna takes you out of Maya. Otherwise, you'll be like Lord Brahma. You'll be bewildered left and right all day. You won't get anywhere. And we want to go back to the spiritual world because we are in the jail, in the material world. But if you want to go to the spiritual world, why bewilder the person that runs the spiritual world? How are you going to get back? How are you going to get back? It won't work. So either way you look at it, from whatever angle, the problem can be solved by just surrendering to Krishna. So to continue in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says, the result was Brahma himself was mystified, just as one who wants to kill another may himself be killed. In other words, you think that you can defeat someone, not knowing that the person is much more powerful than you are. So you start, and in the middle of a fight, you realize you're totally outclassed, but you can't run away. So what happens? In the end, you get killed. You went to kill somebody. You thought you could defeat him because he looked like a little 6-year-old boy. And the next thing you know, he's much, much more, he's huge than your power. And so you got nowhere. So this is a lesson. Brahma was mystified, but we also can be mystified if we're not careful. If we're not careful. That's when we try to use our ego to say we know everything. That's why that ego is called false ego. The real ego is Krishna. He's the controller. And our ego is, I am little. I am insignificant. I am the servant of a servant. As soon as you think that way, your ego is fine because it's little, it's minute. And you've accepted that you're going to be a puppet for your spiritual master and a puppet for Krishna. That is our ego, if you can call it ego. Ego. But we're not big. The ego is to admit that we're not big. We are little and we serve. And that's how we become happy. We serve the servants who are the servants, who are the servants, who are the servants of Krishna. That's how we become happy. How? Krishna has set it up that way. There's no way out. He is the supreme controller. And he says, if you want to be happy, be the servant of a servant of a servant. And if you are in jail, you follow my spiritual master. The spiritual master I said there is my Krishna. The spiritual master is Krishna for you. You practice how to serve Krishna by serving Guru. And whatever he tells you, you follow. If he tells you, you follow. Then when you become, you go back to the spiritual world, then whatever you told, you follow also. In other words, you've learned your lesson. You become rehabilitated. So now you can go back. You get the message of Guru. Guru says, all right, well, he didn't make 100% purity, but he put in quite a bit of effort. Krishna, please allow him to. This is what the spiritual masters who are initiating, they do at the time of death. And they follow it literally. It was described to me by Bhakti Maharaj. So the process is a person who has taken spiritual life seriously, put in the effort. Remember, we don't have wonderful senses, but whatever we have in this physical body that we're using, if we use it to the best of our ability, the intention should always be good. We may not be pure, but we should have pure intention. That everything we want to do it well. See, the Prabhupada says, you serve Krishna, everything must be first class. So no matter how it ends, your intention should be to do it first class. And you strive to do it first class. And whatever it gets to, Krishna is responsible for results. You just do. You're not responsible for results. If it's going to be wonderful, Krishna will make it that way. You just put in the effort. You just put in the effort. Try hard, and persist. And Krishna will open up. Now, when it comes to material things and you persist too much, that's a waste of time. You shouldn't do that. But spiritual, you should put in as much effort as possible. Keep going, and then Krishna would allow, since you have the heart wanting to do it well, Krishna will make it happen. Sometimes he makes it happen in a way where you couldn't even expect that it would happen that way. That's also him. He determines everything. So you just be a servant and be there. Better than a servant is be a puppet and get used by the Lord, get used by devotees, get used in a positive way, of course, not just, taken advantage of, but used by Guru. Whatever he tells you, you do. And speaking about that, it was explained to me, there are 4 types of disciples. Just remember, so we'll bring it up. Disciple means you have your Diksha Guru, and the Param Guru for all of us is your Prabhupada. If you're not Prabhupada disciples, your Prabhupada is the direct spiritual master, and for the rest of us, second generation people, he's our Param Guru. Now, disciple, there are 4 classes of disciples, as Bhakti Maharaj explained in one lecture. First class disciple, second class disciple, third class disciple, and fourth class disciple. So who is a first class disciple? A first class disciple is the one who serves the Guru, and not only that, he knows what the Guru expects in different type of services, and he's done it so much that the Guru doesn't have to tell him now. He knows what to do. Tell him all, he knows what to do. He just gets it ready. So the Guru comes, the things that are supposed to be done, they're laid out. That's a first class disciple. Everything the Guru tells him to do on top of what he knows, he or she will do it. That's first class. Second class disciple doesn't know the Guru's mind, doesn't know how to set things, but everything the Guru says, he does. He's also 100% obedient. First class means they are 100% obedient, and they've been around the spiritual master so much, especially those who serve him directly, that he knows that at this point, Shri Prabhupada wants this here, or your Guru Maharaj wants this late, this way, that one day, the paper should be ready, the food should be ready at this time, all of that. And he coordinates like that. So he keeps the spiritual master's program going. We did a little bit like that, my wife and myself, in 1995, 97. We lived with Bhakti Maharaj. So it's got to a point where we know what to expect. And we just lead it out. That's all. Now, second class, as we said, may not know because they've not been around the Guru much. But whatever the Guru tells them, they never say no to it. Now, third class is getting bad now. third class disciple, Guru says to do something. He goes, Maharaj, yeah, I'll do it, but this situation is happening in my family, therefore, can it wait? Or maybe you can, is it all right if you get a first class disciple to do it? Because they always obey you anyway, so, in other words, excuse after excuse after excuse. Some things they do and some things they don't do, and they give excuses. Fourth class disciple, you don't want to know. They get initiated and they go their way. I'm finished with you. I got my name. I lead my life, and you lead your life, Guru. I don't do anything for you. And those people are dead, literally walking dead people. They don't do anything for Guru. They got their name, and it's like that's in American terms. I have arrived. I have my name now. I want initiation. I got my initiation. Now I can go and do whatever I want, and Guru can do whatever he wants, and I don't care. That's fourth class. So then he said, we don't want fourth class disciple, and we don't want third class disciple. Third class disciple gives excuses. Fourth class disciple is out of there doing whatever they're doing. Second class, at least you should be. Even if you don't know your Guru's mind, everything he tells you, at least that you should obey. Everything. That's what Krishna expects. If you go see Guru, you are inquiring submissively and you're rendering service. That's second class. But if you've been around them and you've been, Guru has appreciated what you've done over the years, and you also have gotten to know, you've traveled with them, and you get to a certain place, you know what he's going to do next. If he's going on a morning walk, you know how to get ready. Those devotees, Papa doesn't tell them to take the recorder with them. They take it with them. They know he's going to speak, and they're going to record it. So it's already, wherever he's going, that's fine, but they have the tape recorder ready. That's the first class disciple, knowing that Papa is going to speak. Papa doesn't have to tell him, get a tape recorder first. No, that kind of thing. It's not something surprising, but they know what Guru expects and they do it. And everything Guru says, beyond that too, they obey. That's first class. So we should either be first class if we're lucky enough to be around Guru, or second class. Now, can we be first class? Yeah, without even being around Guru. It's very simple. Ask Guru Dev, what can I do for you? It's that simple. You pray to Guru and ask him, what should I do? He has a mission, he has things. If he wants you to do a particular thing, he'll tell you. You just go ask. Ask. Your Guru Maharaj has left the body, no problem. Go to the picture. The picture is just as potent as Guru. And ask through the picture. What's the proof of that? Well, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada's spiritual master. His spiritual master is Gokishore Das Babaji. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj, he took sannyas. And when he took sannyas, he didn't have a live person there. He took the picture of his Guru Maharaj. Gokishore Das Babaji was the presiding Guru for Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj's sannyas ceremony. But Gokishore Das Babaji had left the body. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj took Gokishore Das Babaji's picture and did the sannyas ceremony with it. That goes to show you, if he would take his Guru Maharaj's picture, how potent those pictures are. So your Guru Maharaj, but you don't play with it. Now, if you're not a Srila Prabhupada disciple, you have to understand that no matter what you think about your Guru, Srila Prabhupada is still the Param Guru and the leader of ISKCON. And without him, we cannot go back to the spiritual world. That part you have to understand. We can't go back to spiritual world. Here's the proof. You didn't get to chant 16 rounds from your Guru Maharaj's permission. It was Srila Prabhupada that said you could chant 16 rounds instead of 64. Never forget that. We are doing only 1/4 of what we're supposed to do because Prabhupada got the mercy of Krishna. Nobody did. None of us can go back to the spiritual world chanting 16 rounds. Srila Prabhupada gave that permission. And Hare Krishna is the Yuga Dharma. And so him, Param Guru, made it possible for us to chant only 25%. Who are we to say that Prabhupada is less than any or equal to any of our Gurus? It's not possible. If we think that way, we are in great Maya. Guru Aparad. So Srila Prabhupada, no matter what apart from the books that he's written, 84 books. 84 books. His Holiness Danivya Maharaj told me, 84 books in 12 years. 7 books a year. Can you do that? Please. 7 books translated into so many languages now. Srila Prabhupada is in the class by himself. He is the one that Lord Chaitanya predicted would come. Did he predict your Guru Maharaj would come? ISKCON is in so much Maya is not funny. You cannot compare anyone to Srila Prabhupada. It's not possible. So many examples, one after another. Matajis were supposed to not get initiation. Matajis, you marry, your husband gets initiation and you follow him and he makes you the spiritual, but then you go. Srila Prabhupada cut that. Now Matajis can get initiation directly. And even when it comes to gurus, ISKCON is still struggling with female gurus. Have gurus or not? Srila Prabhupada said in 2 points, I read and I also heard from him. What that I heard was a reporter who was probably a feminist American reporter. I don't know, but it was a good question he asked because she noticed, this is a female reporter, she noticed that all of the sannyasis around him and gurus were male. So then he asked, Prabhupada, can a woman be a guru? This is a recorded thing I heard of my own ears. Prabhupada says, why not? That was his answer. Why not? So if he says why not, then he means we can have women gurus. Now, what I read about women gurus, Srila Prabhupada said, yes, we can have women gurus, but not too many. I'm just quoting, believe me, I'm not fighting GBCs or anything. This is from Srila Prabhupada himself. When the reporter said we have women gurus, he says, why not? And then when he read, he says, you should have women gurus, but not too many. Which means we should have women gurus, but not many in quantity, in number of gurus as the men gurus. But he didn't say no. He never said no to women gurus. So, and my Guru Maharaj, Bhakti Maharaj has said this, Mother Janava, the wife of Lord Nityananda, he was a Param Guru. Practically everybody was obeying her, and she was giving mercy, and she's in a female body. So who are we to say we can't be guru, got female gurus? So the devotees, they know. Some of the people in the GBC, and I know I've gotten to this side that's a little sensitive, but still we got to talk about it because so many people in the leadership in ISKCON are for that. And then there's a group that's against that. And since my wife is president, I hear these things. They tell me, right? So there's a tussle going on. So those who are saying no to women gurus, they are actually disobeying Srila Prabhupada, whether they like it or not. And they're going to have to pay for it because that's Guru Aparat, the Param Guru. Okay, let's come back to Lord Brahma. This is out of politics of ISKCON. So that's the case. We are supposed to actually have women gurus, but not that many. That's what Srila Prabhupada said. So we shouldn't get too much into the male thing and then get bewildered like Lord Brahma got bewildered. We're going to be in trouble. So we should really come down to reality. What Srila Prabhupada says, you do it. So Lord Brahma was mystified. In a similar position, Srila Prabhupada says, scientists and philosophers, they want to overcome the mystic power of Krishna. I heard one chemist who was the head of the department of a school that I taught, I was just hired temporarily, but one full-time filling in for somebody who was on leave, sabbatical leave. And this man, one day, I was in his class, even though I was also a professor, but we're there in the back. There's two of us sitting in the back, and he's preaching. I mean, he's teaching. He's teaching, and we hear him, and the two of us are in the back. We hear his lectures so that when it comes to tutorial time, we have a time with his students, we answer the organic chemistry questions for them. So that's why we had to sit in the class and hear him. So this man is in the front speaking, and he talked about research a little bit, and he made a comment that blew my mind. This is what Srila Prabhupada is talking about. He said, we do experiments because we know God made it. And he says, God made it, I can make it too. That was his statement. God made it, I can make it too, which means they're challenging the authority of God and the scientist that's in Krishna, which is, can you challenge that? But Srila Prabhupada says in a similar position, there are scientists and philosophers who want to overcome the mystic power of Krishna. They want to put themselves in a position that they're not entitled to. They want to be bigger than Krishna. And so Srila Prabhupada says, they challenge Krishna saying, what is God? We can do this, we can do that, just like that statement that was made by that professor. I remember, I won't call his name, but I could just see his face when he said this. God made it, I can make it too. I'm thinking, you don't know what you're talking about. But I just kept quiet. I was in the back with the other professor. So the more they challenge Krishna in this way, the more they are implicated in suffering, which is exactly what happens. They are trying to prove that science can do everything. Yes. So they come up with cell phones, and you can go on the internet, and you can do this and you can do that. Yes, we devotees use it for Krishna consciousness. I usually hear Shiv Papa chanting all day. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. But what is the real intention of these people that came up with this? The business, G5, whatever things that they're coming up with it in trying to improve the electronics, just so they can control us more and they can get our money. It's all for business. It's all for profit. Not that they care about us. When the world is under their control electronically, then they can determine what everybody's doing. They can look into everybody's stuff, everybody's business also. But yeah, they can look into our business. If you look into our business, you're going to hear Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Because that's what I listen to. I listen to the lectures. So we should be like the snake. The Avadut Brahman and the 24 Gurus, we talked about that the other time. Srila Prabhupada gave that. It's in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 11, chapters 8 and 9. 7 is when it starts with Avadut Brahman, and then the 24 Gurus are in chapters 8, and it ends in chapter 9. So Canto 11, chapters 8 and 9. The snake, Srila Prabhupada gave the idea. The snake is a reptile, right? It doesn't make its own home. The mouse does the digging of the home, and the snake comes in and occupies it, and it kicks the mouse out. The mouse stays is going to be eaten anyways. The mouse has to run away. So in that sense, they make the cell phones, and we use it. So we're the snake, and the people who produce it, they're the mouse. True enough, it's a little more sophisticated mouse, right? They want money, but we take it and we use it for Krishna. So the Shiva was like that. Sometimes he would just be a little cunning, like the materialists are struggling. Let them struggle hard. And that's the saying. They are implicated. The scientists, the more they challenge Krishna in this way, the more implicated they are in the suffering. They will have to work so hard. I was in it, the PhD program. Some people work to midnight, and we go home only when the experiment permits us to go home. In other words, when you're in the middle of an experiment and you haven't finished up to a certain point, you can't leave it. If you leave it, the entire thing will be useless. So the experiment determines when you go, because when the experiment's got to the end where it's convenient to stop, then you can go home. Otherwise, you lose everything that you've done. So literally, some of these scientific experiments dictate the lifestyle of the scientists, those who do research. If the spaceship is upgoing to whatever program, and some people are sitting in the computer and they're watching it, they have to be sure that everything is okay with the rocket boosters and all of that. Those responsible for it, everything went okay before they can go home. Otherwise, they'll be in anxiety. So literally, the experiments dictate the time. So if they wanted to go home, they can't. And that's why Papa said the more they try, the more they're implicated in suffering. Their time now is controlled by the experiments. But now I prepare to do Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, and listen to lectures with my time. Now, those of us that are still working, I'm retired, those of us that are still working, again, we should set our day, program it such that the work time is there, but when you come home and you do the important things, you do the necessary things for our material life, then we have time. Give quality time to hearing the lectures and also chanting, because the physical body is going to end when we die. It's not taking us anywhere. The soul has to be rescued. We are in jail. We have to rescue our soul, and we've been given the process. The Yuga Dharma is chanting. We can hear, we can offer obeisances, we can, Krishna, Vandanam, prayers, the 9 processes. And then there's love built in. We can be Krishna's servant. We can be Krishna's friend. That's love built in there. And then at the very end, the extent that we surrender, he was accordingly. But it says, Atma Nibedanam, surrender everything, surrender fully. So if we surrender 100%, well, then we are, His Holiness Guru Govinda Maharaj says, if you surrender 100%, you are at Krishna Prema, without a doubt. If you surrender 100%, you are Krishna Prema. Only those who love Krishna will give everything to Krishna, who love Krishna fully. fully surrendered, they give everything to Krishna. And they don't care. They don't care what happens to my life. As long as I'm surrendered to Krishna with everything I do, I know I'll be fine. That's the mentality that Sri Prabhupada wants us to get to. Then you'll be like the gopis, different types of prema, like, the raga. Raga is, we talked about it the other day. Raga is, it doesn't matter what anybody thinks of me. I'm serving Krishna. When I hear Krishna's flute, I don't care where my husband is, I'm going. I don't care how I'm dressed, I'm going. I'm just going to go see him. So people are going to talk about, but you had a husband and you leave. We don't care. We're going to Krishna because Krishna is the ultimate. How can you go wrong when you go see Krishna? He himself is a master. If anybody tries to stop you, Krishna will bewilder that person, just like he did Lord Brahma. So you can't go wrong. You just go see Krishna. There's coronavirus. We still go see Krishna. What do we care? So, all right, so you go to, like I saw yesterday, so I went to see Dronacharya in Philadelphia. It's about 2 hours from me in the morning. And I went in, and then the temple was open, really nice, but now there are all of these lines here. You have to walk through this, and because of coronavirus, you offer obeisances. What do I care? The deities are there. I can see them. That's all I care about. The same. The deities haven't changed. Whether there's coronavirus or not, the deities are still the same. They're dressed wonderfully. So you offer obeisances and ignore all those other things that are, that's materialists doing their stuff. Krishna will bewilder them later on anyway. I know that. You did Brahma, he will do them too. So I just have my mind on offering obeisances and doing the service and chanting. So we had a wonderful time, even and myself, who's the vice president of Philadelphia, sorry. So it comes down to surrendering. If you surrender fully, you will not be bewildered. So then, Sri Prabhupada says, Sarvadharman parityaja mamekam sharanam bhaja. Abandon all varieties of religion. All of these things that say God, 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 but they're going to wind up in the heavenly planets only because there's no transcendence in it. Some people are very happy they're going to heaven, but we know the heaven is just a minimum security jail. You're still in jail. You have a little more wealth, but that's all. You don't get out and go into the spiritual world. They don't know anything beyond the sky. See, and we take all of these for granted. We know how lucky we are, because if it wasn't for Sri Prabhupada, some of us would be going to heaven too. And we think that that's the best thing for us. But he took us, and that's what Oma Gena Timiranjasya, Gyana Gana Shalaka. We were in ignorance. And Krishna appointed spiritual master, and the spiritual master is taking us out of ignorance and trying to get us to go back to Godhead so we can be happy. We think we're going to be happy here, but get it. No matter what you do, sense gratification and trouble. That's all. Because the Prabhupada said the other day, think about it. People pray, right? They pray, God, give me this, God, give me this. And everything they pray for is supposed to be good for them, according to what they see it. So then, God, give me this, God, give me that for my wife. This is for my daughters. And, I want a good job and a nice home and a car. The other day we were talking about a Lexus. And so give me all of these things, right? And if you don't give me, believe me, I've been Catholic before, I know. If you want something from Krishna, from at that time, God, and it doesn't seem to come quickly, then you fast. If you fast, it means you really put renunciation into it so God will do it for you and do it for you quickly. So we try to dictate when God should do things for us, for our sense gratification of all things. See how much we've been cleaned up now. I'm just laughing at myself. We've gone through all of this. Total ignorance, Agyana. Now the spiritual master representing Krishna is pulling us back and putting us in the right. So don't blame Brahma that he was bewildered. You cannot bewilder Krishna. You will be bewildered yourself. So we don't have a choice. We surrender to Krishna, then we'll be happy. Sri Prabhupada says we should give up all our tiny efforts to defy the arrangement of Krishna. Krishna has arrangement, you go along with it. He proposes, we accept. This is always better, for this will make us happy. The more we try to defeat the arrangement of Krishna, this is appropriate. The more we become implicated in Krishna's Maya. And one who has reached the point of surrendering. In other words, when you get to the point where everything doesn't work unless you surrender to Krishna, that is the highest intelligence. That's the highest form of intelligence. Because gopis are like that. Every day they think about Krishna. Everything they do In Krishna Prema, different types of Krishna Prema, whether they just get all, like Lord Chaitanya showed us, hair standing on end, the crying, the being stunned, all of that. That's the Baba platform, the one before Mahababa. But that's the sixth one of the seven. We've gone through the 7 levels, and then the total is Madanakya Mahababa. That's the eighth one that only Lord Chaitanya and Radharani exhibit, because Lord Chaitanya came in Radharani's mood. Okay? But there's so many moods there. So by Krishna's mercy, now I know a little bit about it from Gogovinda Maharaj. Krishna Prema is wonderful. So we can, in fact, get there if we pronounce the name of Krishna distinctly when we chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And if we concentrate on the holy name, we will, in fact, get there. Also, we have to stop aparat. You don't want to be offensive, because everything then cuts down then. You can't get anywhere. So Papa says, the power of Krishna is like the government. You cannot be overcome. The rules are there. You try to fight the IRS, see where you get to. You owe this money. You don't like it. It doesn't matter. You owe it. They say you owe it. And if you don't pay, they will add more interest to it. And if you don't pay, they come after a paycheck and take some from the paycheck. What can you do? Nothing. The government is that powerful. It's that powerful. Now, if this tiny government in this one tiny country is that powerful, and Krishna has created everything from just his expansions, how can you go after Krishna? You can't bewilder Krishna. Even when he looks like a 2-year-old or a baby, or he killed Putana, all the same. Shakatasura, and he was a baby then. He still got rid of him. So he is superior. He is superior of all superiors. His superiority, the ultimate of superiority, is Krishna. And if we surrender to him, then he leans down a little bit and gives us the mercy. That's all. That's our position. So, Prabhupada says, from the next verse, which is coming, so somebody else will teach another devotee, it is clear that Krishna cannot be defeated by any kind of mystic power. Well, now he's Yogeshwara. He is the controller of all mysticism. How can you defeat it? Mysticism comes from him. Now, the person that's the source, don't try to fight him. Doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense. You got your mysticism from him, Lord Brahma. So then he said, Brahma, okay, you got 4 heads, you watch this. We'll call all of these Brahmas. Come see. You think you come down to your level. There's Brahma with 4 heads. That's you. But then there's Brahma twice as many heads as you have. He already got more power than you. Then the 8th-headed one has got a bigger universe they're dealing with. Then the 16, he gets all the way up to 1 million. Huge universes. So you think you have your universe of 4-headed, your universe is tiny. And boy, if you compare the planets, the Earth, tiny universe in this one, and then one country, America, and then one little city that we have. Now, who are we to try to do anything? We're so small. We are Anu, very small and insignificant. That's why one devotee sometime, well, one point, they were talking about humility. And this devotee said, we're going to stop in a minute, that Prabhupada, I think I'm the most fallen. Prabhupada says, you are not the most anything. Now, on the one hand, you might think that Prabhupada has told him off, right? Because it's funny, you said, he told devotees, listen to it. And he said, I'm the most fallen. Sometimes, in the pure devotees, they write and they say, I'm the most fallen, I'm worse than a worm in stool. And so he was imitating that. Maybe he meant it, but Prabhupada corrected him. He didn't put him down. He says, you are not the most anything. So then he asked, what am I then? He says, you are simply insignificant. All you have to remember, you are insignificant. But you're not the most anything, because Krishna is the most everything. He's the smallest and he's the biggest. So one more example, then we'll stop. So Srila Prabhupada, this is a lecture that I heard. I've been hearing all week, actually. We have been repeating. This is last week. There's a Bhakti Rich program, and we decided that we're going to hear Srila Prabhupada lectures over and over and over and over the same week. 5, 6, 7, 8 times so that we can understand it more. So this particular lecture I heard, Srila Prabhupada is making a comparison. So Krishna has made these big planets. Even Kadama Muni He was allowed to make a huge, huge plain that's like a city. When he wanted, Devahuti, when they got out from the Bajan, the cave and the forest, and they really wanted to have children at that time, he can do that. He can do that. This is Kadama Muni. Krishna creates so many planets, okay? And so Prabhupada was comparing it to the America. They did, okay, so they made a 757 big jet and so on, big, and we all think it's huge compared to, the planets. So Prabhupada didn't even go there. He said, Krishna is the greatest because he can make a big planet, and then he can make also something very small. And he says, like an ant, or a small germ that he looks like a full stop. He said, period, that size. Krishna can create that can move, can even fly. Then he said, can these scientists make a plane that can fly, that's as small as an insect? Then the Buddhists all started laughing. Obviously, they can't do it. But Krishna can make a small insect that can fly and a large insect or a large planet that can also move. For you scientists, can you make at that level a little one and put all the machines inside that little thing and make it fly? It's not possible. So then he proved to them that nobody can compare to Krishna. So if Brahma got bewildered, we learned our lesson from it. We should always be submitted to Guru and Krishna, and we'll be fine. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So the text again, and then we'll open for questions or comments. That's because Lord Brahma wanted to mystify the all-pervading Lord Krishna, who can never be mystified, but who, on the contrary, mystifies the entire universe. He himself was put into bewilderment by what little power, mystic power that Krishna gave him. Hare Krishna. Sorry. So
Hare Krishna, Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
What a wonderful class.
Obviously, I'm enjoying myself. Krishna's pastimes are wonderful. Krishna's pastimes are wonderful. They make you go crazy, Hare Krishna. So I apologize. I don't always act that way, but for Krishna's pastimes, I just go on a different level. My Guru Maharaj does that to me. Okay, go ahead, Dwayne.
Very enjoyable, very instructive. You covered so many wonderful points. We don't have a whole lot of time, so we want to jump right into questions that devotees may have. We want to go by raising the hand. Mother Renika, you're the first one with your hand up. Let's get right into it because we only have 5 minutes. Okay?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Parikshit Prabhu, for Hare Krishna. Such a very pure, very your lectures are very lively and very energetic, especially what anybody needs for a Monday morning, every other Monday. You should come every Monday. Monday mornings are your spots.
Every other Monday, whatever they tell me is what I do. And my Guru Maharaj pushes me like that. It's like I'm almost mad here doing this. But it's Krishna's pastimes. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. Thank you so much. So you were talking about how these cell phone companies are only for profit, but all these Fortune 500 companies and all these major companies, especially the cell phone companies, because I did work for T-Mobile for about 4 years as a consultant.
Okay.
And
okay.
So I want to defend T-Mobile because there is a concept called as corporate social responsibility. All these companies, they have their corporate social responsibility wing. They take so many volunteer hours. Actually, I got to volunteer at a school for one whole day, and T-Mobile used to pay me, and that money, actually went for a non-profit. So all these the concept of corporate social responsibility is, all these major Fortune 500 companies or the for-profit companies, they do have their outlet, their philanthropic outlet and stuff like that. So
agreed.
So don't call them materialistic companies. They do have their heart. They have a good heart in place. So we should give them some concession, not totally categorize them as pure materialistic, pure money-minded, or things like that.
Good. And I agree with you.
I have worked in other companies also, and everybody, we all used to have that, we could donate our time, our money, and corporate matching. Like, you donate $100 to a 501(c)(3) club like ISKCON Philadelphia, the other company matches 100% matching. So, they're doing their bit.
Those are there. That's true. That's true. Now, I work as a consultant for a company also. Don't think I don't know these things. Now, what you've said spiritually comes down to you being in the mode of goodness. So you give, right? Some of them are in the mode of passion. They won't give you anything. You can't, some people give and some people don't. Some employees do, some companies give, but they give. Now, let me tell you what mode of goodness is. There's mode of pure goodness, and then there's material goodness also. These companies, they give material goodness. That's wonderful. But guess what? They get a tax deduction also. Don't forget that part. So they get something from it. Anyway, you have to unmute yourself. But we won't debate too much. See, you have good intention because you're a devotee. But you can't put a material devotee thinking at the materialist level. Your intention is good. But some non-devotees, they may mean well, but they have only up to heavenly consciousness, not spiritual consciousness. That's the difference. So even with they mean well, let me just give one example. The Papa gave very instructive. He says, so you want to donate. If you donate to something like a hospital, very good. It's very good. Or if you donate to people who are hungry, that's also very good. But those people have karma that they're going through. Let's look at it spiritually. And when you get born, see, Papa says the percentage of happiness you go through and the percentage of the stress you're going through, they are fixed. You can't change that. The Papa instructed that. So he said, if you give to somebody who is a karmi and say they're supposed to have 50% happiness and 50% distress their whole lives, and you give to them so that you made their life better, guess what's going to happen? The transcendental system will adjust the distress so that at the end of their life, it's still 50% happiness and 50% distress. You can't get around it. You cannot get around it. If you give for material reasons, you can't get around it. The only thing you can do to benefit them, if you give something spiritual. So if you rather than give prasad, because prasad is Krishna, so they have benefit from it. But everything material does not change the karmic arrangements. It doesn't. So if the companies may give all they want, if it's not Krishna conscious, they're not really improving overall. They're not. See, and it takes your Papa to let us know this. So you're a devotee. So when you're giving, give something that's spiritual. Rather than give a regular book, give a spiritual book. It always has to, something has to have a spiritual angle to it. Then it will be beneficial. Otherwise, you're wasting your time in a sense. You may give me something profitable, but they will adjust the karmic thing so that it will be the same for everybody's life. There's no getting anywhere. Spiritual you can't compare the material. You cannot. So it's set up like that. And I wouldn't have known, listen, but just by listening to his lecture, he explained it that way. So now you and I both know. Hare Krishna. I didn't mean to, just Sri Prabhupada's point. I'm just repeating what he said, that's all. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Parikshit Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, my dear sister.
Amazing as usual. It takes me back to Gita Navajis. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna, and please give your wife and children my obeisances.
Hare Krishna, it's okay. It's okay. All right, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, I want Mr. Vinda to be able to ask a question. I just have to mention that I have to jump off now.
Okay.
So yeah. if Parikshit Prabhu, if I make you the host, will you just be able to close it out? All you have to do is
how do you do it? I don't know how. Maybe somebody else on there. Maybe Renu Mataji. Okay, do what? Let's do what?
Yeah. All you have to do is hit end. Like when you close out.
Okay.
And that'll be there.
That button just press leave. The leave button.
Yes. It'll say end meeting for all.
That I can do. All right.
And then you'll be fine. I have to run to another meeting, but this class was really good, and there may be some other comments that devotees may have. So I want that to be able to be there. Mr. Vinda Mataji may have had a question as well. Okay.
All right. Okay.
Thank you, Prabhu. Parikshit Prabhu.
All right. I see all the buttons now. Okay, Mr. Vinda. So did you want to add some more? Or you okay? Okay, looks like she's not on. So any other? I see Vatshal Ashok.
Yes. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much. Your lecture with examples from Srila Prabhupada was so wonderful,
you can't go wrong.
Up to the point, and I always love Srila Prabhupada's wording and lecture.
That's why we hear it.
He moved mountains for us. Without him, we are dead. I would have been dead long time back.
You can't even go back to the spiritual world without him.
Yeah,
I chant 16 rounds. Yeah.
So I'm retired like you. So all things that you
I just
bring
retired, me 2 years only. Go ahead. Yeah.
All the things that you brought as a reference is so good. And also what you mentioned, like, Krishna is the controller of this universe, every universe, and we are the tiniest speck in this universe. So
that's the understanding we should have. Yes.
Yes, that the false ego or any other improprieties would not come if we think we are just a tiny speck in this whole universe. So
you
if you
said it better.
There is no big head, no ego or anything, arrogance or anything doesn't happen. If you think he's the controller, he is within you, he's watching every move you make.
Yep. Go ahead. Yeah.
And you have to also have an equal vision for everybody, no matter what anybody does or anything. Sri Krishna,
you should have been one preaching.
So I love it because you brought Srila Prabhupada's things, more examples. I love that. Thank you very much. And, this COVID-19 is putting everybody into their homely life. And we don't do too much of temple things. I don't go too much to the temple right now. Worshipping, deities at home, doing things at home.
Yeah, so Grihastas do that anyway, so it doesn't make much difference.
And your lecture is so wonderful. Thank you very much with all the appropriate thing that you did. Another thing I wanted to ask you.
Krishna's mercy, not me. Krishna's mercy. Okay, go ahead to another thing.
Yes, even though Brahma is like a 50% demigod status, he has got 50% of or 50 qualities of demigod status. And he still, with his, the yajna or tapas he has done to achieve all the benefits from Sri Krishna, wouldn't you know that Krishna is playing with him? And, Krishna is also a devotee. Brahma is a devotee. Don't you think he would know that Krishna is playing with him? He is like a pastimes he is conducting with him. And also, would you not know Krishna is so powerful? Why am I doing these silly games with this Sri Krishna? You can never win.
Very good question. Two very good questions. But it's easy to say when you're outside looking at them. Okay? You're a third party. Brahma is under Yogamaya. So he's gone. When under Yogamaya, you go according to your mentality is what Yogamaya tells you. Mother Yashoda is bewildered because he saw the universes in Krishna's mouth. There's nothing she can do about it. It's Yogamaya. When you sit outside, it's about, geez, don't you know that there's small mouths, that universes can't fit in a small mouth? But he's seeing it, and he's seeing himself. When Yogamaya gets you, the program is over. You just go by the Yogamaya. So Lord Brahma could have seen after he captured or took the cows and the cowherd boys, put them in the cave, and then he saw this. It's like, yeah, geez, something is wrong here. Something is wrong. But if it's happened, like you were saying, it must be Krishna that's doing that. Well, actually, he got there. But later, after Yogamaya was taken from him, he realized, gee, I messed with the Supreme Personality of God. Look at me. Yeah? And then Krishna added more. Give him all these Brahmas, they're all bigger than you. And I created all of them. How about that? And by the way, there was one situation that was another part of the pastime. When he went back to Brahmaloka, listen to this. This is another part that joins this. When he returned to Brahmaloka, Krishna had gone in front of him, looking like Brahma. One more. Krishna looked like him. He went to Brahma, so they allowed him in. Krishna looking like Brahma. So when real Brahma came, they said, "Who are you?" I said, "I'm Brahma." They said, "No, the Brahma has already come." So they stopped him. They stopped. So then he like, "Oh yeah, it must be Krishna that did this." And so it was the proof. Well, for the cowherd voice, he saw a reflection, same thing. And then after this cowherd voice situation, he also got shown so many Brahmas, so you know that he was small. And then when he went home, the doorkeeper said, Brahma said, "There's a Brahma here already. You must be an imposter." But at that time, he already knew Krishna would do that. So he kind of laughed about it and explained the situation. Let me in. Whoever came must be Krishna that did that to me. So I know he's already got me. So let me back home. Literally, they did that to him. So Krishna would do all kinds of things. You just sit back and enjoy the pastime, but don't try to get on Krishna's position. That's what we're saying. We got envious of Krishna. We thought we'd be like him. Look at where we are now, suffering in the material world when everybody's enjoying back in the spiritual world. So that's our situation. You just be, be calm, and you only are chanting 60. You can't even do 64 rounds. So who are you to talk? It takes 64 rounds to go back, and Prabhupada give you the mercy. So you just praise Prabhupada and do everything, and they give you mercy. And you go back. Just keep quiet and be a little like that. That's all. That's all it takes. That's all it takes. Follow Guru, whatever they tell you, you do. That's it. And that's all we're doing here. So it may have impressed you what happened today, but it's because I'm looking at your Prabhupada. Actually, to tell you the truth, on this left side is my Guru Maharaj's picture. On the right side here is Srila Prabhupada, and the laptop is in between. And in front of Srila Prabhupada is this little Jagannath Baladev Subhadra deities that were given to you. That's what I'm looking at and talking. So now, why wouldn't they come up? I don't know why I'm that excited. They wish me like that. Krishna, you just surrender. It's that simple. But we always want to make decisions on our own, and this and this and this. And for, we do this, and I'm more spiritual than this person. All false ego. All false ego. Submit, and Krishna will make it easy for you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Thank you very much.
It's wonderful, Prabhu. Thank you.
Krishna's
Thank
mercy.
you.
Krishna's mercy.
Wonderful. The way you said, when Krishna went to the Brahmaloka, and then
that one.
That was, Brahma will lose his own place too.
He will do you so bad, Krishna. He will do you so bad.
If one point, if he's testing, we lose our own place too.
Yeah, he goes home and they say, well, Brahma's been here already. You must be on somebody else. Go back. The doorkeeper is not disrespecting the real Brahma.
That's really,
do that to you.
See, we enjoyed a lot today, the class, So,
like the 10th canto
says,
is like that. The 10th canto is all Krishna's pastime. So you just get into it.
Like Renuka says, we need this kind of thing on Mondays, because people work.
It starts your day. Yeah, we all, See, there's no need to go watching these soap operas and stuff. Krishna does it all. Krishna does it all. We go to all of these people dressed nicely and one scandal after another on TV. For what? For what? It doesn't take you back to Godhead either.
That's true.
You just hear and you chant. You hear and you chant. And then, Krishna will sweeten the devotion. And you just find yourself, you don't need anything else.
These are the things, one way it is a moral for people, We cannot go egoism,
Yeah.
So we feel that that is aham. It's very wrong. That's really.
Aham is aham tvam sarva papebhyo. I will deliver you from all simple reaction. Just do what you're told, and you'll be
That's
fine.
That's it.
You'll be fine. That's all.
Thank you very much for
it. It took me a long time to understand like that. But now I realize it's not that difficult. We make it difficult on ourselves.
Yeah, that's true.
And can I tell you one pastime also, if you don't mind? This is my Guru Maharaj, Bhakti Maharaj. So he's sannyasi. He never got married this lifetime, at least. He never got married. Now, the Grihastas, this is Washington, D.C., in the 90s. Grihastas, we had class, Bhagavatam class. And then he started talking about marriages and how you relate, husband and wife. And he made it so simple. And then he looking at us, we're smiling as we couldn't believe it. The sannyasi that didn't get married explained marriage like that. So he looked at us and says, it's simple, isn't it? He said, you are overly complicated. So you're the one to make your marriage complicated. It's actually that simple. Don't play into what pushes your spouse's buttons. You already know if you say it like that, he's going to be upset with you. You go there. And what do you expect?
That's true.
What do you expect? So you know that, okay, wait a minute, I'm getting to this point and this person is going to be upset with me. So let me back away.
Don't do that.
Oh, if you back away from it and praise the person rather than hurt the person, you got a good relationship. Very simple. But you have to train yourself because we have the tendency to criticize. And as soon as you push that person's butt, you criticize them, they're back at you.
Yeah.
And then the whole thing is, you don't understand why, but you started it. You went there. Okay, so it's really your fault. You're so busy thinking that if I tell this person this, and how can you even be sure you're right? Maybe they're right and you're wrong, but you're so convinced about your stuff. See how it's so ridiculous sometimes the way we make material life. It says simplify it. You look at the good side of a person. The bad side is that we all have good and bad side. So don't play into that bad side because they're going to react to you. And then you'll be unhappy. They'll be unhappy. Anyway. Yeah. And so, but she didn't hear me. No, she didn't hear me. If you had heard me, everything would be right. No, you started it. You went to a place where he would be upset or she would be upset. And that's what happened. So that's why Bhakti Maharaj says, if there's a conflict, see that's your fault first. How you approached it. Say the right thing the right way. If you say the right thing and jam the person, hit at them, you're saying the right thing the wrong way. You're still going to offend them, even if it's right. So you got to be kind in a mild way. See, it takes a while. Krishna guys said, all of these things are important. And it took me a long time because I actually had the audio ministry. That's how I got to know. 860 lectures I listened to change from cassette to the computer to CDs. I had to do that service for 3 years. So I heard and heard and heard, and then Radha Maharaj, and then Prabhupada. And then the rest, Krishna makes me remember. That's all. So I'm nobody special.
I like your bhajans also, Prabhu. You sing very good. You sing very good.
Mercy. You know? This is all Krishna's mercy.
But I know we need to have the chance to listen to bhajans. I love them.
Mataji, you are in San Jose, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so you tune in 3 hours early. So we 7, you are about 5 o'clock or 4 o'clock or something, you know, 4:50 with 7:50, and you're up. So we should be praising you. You get up at Mangalati time. We get up, you know, 7 something.
3:30 I wake up, and then 4:30.
Oh, okay.
I just sit here.
It's also nice to see Renuk Mataji's face. I haven't, you know, for a long
she
time,
never comes.
You know, today, Mataji is very beautiful. I should add, Hare Krishna, that's Krishna's mercy. Very pleasant face. So you use it to serve Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Can I ask one more thing? If fine?
Yes, please. I get to end it. So now you just go and ask.
All these things, I understand your Guru Maharaj was Bhakti Tirtha Swami, is he?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, I love, you know what, the way I read some books and I heard so many lectures. He is such a great personality. I mean, he's so good with all the things that he did. And he never focused on his cancer or anything. And he was going on and on, preaching and preaching. That's a good, you know, gift of a person.
Can I tell you something about that? Chandamali Swami described my Guru Maharaj the best.
Yeah.
I can, you know, Radha Swami also described, he says people didn't understand him, but Chandamali Swami said, because some people were saying that his books were replacing Srila Prabhupada's books. That's another Maya. We never entered this Maya situation. So then Chandamali Swami explained, he got degree from Princeton University. He was in a graduate program.
Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah.
Parapsychology. So psychology, regular psychology, and then mystic psychology. That's what he got. And then he took the Shastra and broke it down into situations for our minds. Because many of us, we hear Srila Prabhupada, but we don't really get deeply into it. And so he just took situations that we struggle with in our daily lives. And he brought us, in other words, from ignorance to passion and to goodness. He brought us to goodness at that point. And then when Srila Prabhupada's lectures are played, now we understand it. Because like false ego, there's a whole thing I talk about. False ego, I have a thing in front of me right now. False ego when we're by ourselves. How does false ego kick in when we're with a lot of people? How does false ego kick in when you're elderly? How does false ego kick in when you're young? How does false ego kick in when you're atheistic? How does false ego kick in or become when you're spiritual? See, we hear false ego in the Shastra, but he's broken it into different categories.
That's yeah.
Okay, I can talk about each one of them, how you feel. So then you understand false ego deeply. So now when you say false ego, he didn't say false ego. False ego is in the Shastra. See, Prabhupada talks about it. So that's what it did. So that's Chandamali Swami said. He used psychology to bring us to the state of mind where we can understand things, the little things deeply, so the Prabhupada's lectures will sink in better. That's what
How
he did.
many books he has written, Prabhu?
20 now.
Wow.
Yeah.
I would like to see some books and see, I mean,
please, if you can contact me, because I have, believe me, when I'm behind me now, and on different sites, I'm sitting in the basement, 300 boxes of, not books, 300 boxes of my Guru Maharaj, 8,000 books are with me right now.
Wow.
Some things happened, long story, the press that was dealing with it, they wasted, they lost a lot of money from storage, they keeping the books in storage for a long time and they weren't selling, and $20,000 got wasted in storage fees. So then I heard about it. I said, listen, I have closets here. I went and took all of them and put them here. That's how they're with me now. So yeah, you can get them through me if you contact
yeah, I would like to. I was fascinated because he went to Princeton with all the things. I said, my God, I mean, he's such a I mean, very, very intelligent, and also he breaks everything down for the human beings, like in ordinary life.
That's true.
I like that.
He's a servant of Srila Prabhupada. He's
Yes,
just very, very, and I'll tell you what he did. Disciples of his, he doesn't call us his disciples. He calls us, we are all pieces of flowers in a flower garland that I want to offer to Srila Prabhupada.
Wow.
That's how he calls us.
Really good.
So he's very submitted, very submitted, very submitted. He's very excited, but it's all for Srila Prabhupada though. He always is pushing. If you don't do well, how can I offer you this? It was on the Darshans, on our case, That's why I'm like that now, because I was there with him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's also.
Prabhu, can you give put in the chat box your email link? So if I want to read.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't have anything. They might have. Drona must have my email.
I'll give my address, my email address right now, and my cell phone too. Okay,
yeah,
right
please.
Now, okay.
Yeah, because I wanted to read. I was talking to Mitra too about the Guru Maharaj, because a lot of people have, when they were talking, Adigadadhar Prabhu, he also brought him, Guru Maharaj. I wanted to know a little bit more.
Okay. This is me and cell phone. Let's see. 7. So you got that too. Number is there, cell phone is there.
Okay.
Email is there, both of them. Yeah. But it's all about Srila Prabhupada though. When you read Bhakti Maharaj's books, there's a whole book on surrender. A whole book on surrender only. And I've done the audio for it. I've actually read it. So I haven't put it out yet, but all of those are there. And just to help you to understand Srila Prabhupada better. That's all. He's not trying to overtake. People thought that way, which is not good at all. He was very offended to hear that. People thought that he was better than Srila Prabhupada.
Yes.
Nobody can. Srila Prabhupada made us chant 16 rounds. But Srila Maharaj did not make us chant 16. It's Srila Prabhupada. It's all Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. You get offended, yeah. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhu.
So next time we'll talk about false ego in different, that mention the titles. So now I really would like to go into it so we all hear what he said, so we have a good sense of what false ego is. Okay, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare
Thank
Krishna. Thank you.
Somebody says we need blessing from Prabhuji. I need your blessing. I need your blessings. I'm nobody. I just get all excited because Shastra is so nice, and devotees are nice, and you guys throw so nice energy, and that's what excites. And then of course I already told you, my Guru Maharaj is here. Prabhupada is here. That's what we're looking at.
Yeah.
In the air dancing. This one and then that. My God sister gave this to me, and that's what I'm looking at. And then the Jagannath. So I'm talking and I'm looking at them. So they're the ones that are preaching through me. I'm not the one. That's why I felt like I could never stop. But actually, they are exciting me to do this. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Okay.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Wonderful lecture.
So I'm going to end it now. I'm administrator, so here we go.
Thank you.